Looking powerful and being untouchable are not the same thing. A bigger salary can still leave you exposed. A polished lifestyle can still hide dependency. A luxury routine can still collapse the moment pressure hits. That is the trap. A life that looks strong from the outside but can still be shaken by one bad quarter, one lost deal, one wrong bet, or one broken source of income. Real financial power does not begin when you start earning more. It begins when your life becomes harder to control, harder to pressure, harder to destabilize. The people who quietly pull ahead do not just upgrade their income, they upgrade their position. So here are 12 wealth moves that make you financially untouchable. Number 1, track freedom, not just income. A lot of people measure progress by asking how much they make. But income by itself tells you almost nothing about how safe you really are. Two people can earn the same amount and live in completely different realities. One is trapped by payments, appearances, obligations, and fear. The other has reserves, low burn, optionality, and room to think. Same income, different power. That is why the smarter question is not, how much do I make? But, how free am I if things go wrong? Can you cover your life for months without panic? Can you leave a toxic environment without begging the future for permission? Can you slow down long enough to make strategic decisions instead of desperate ones? This changes everything. Because once freedom becomes the metric, your behavior starts to change. You stop chasing numbers that look good in public and start building structures that feel strong in private. Number 2, reduce your financial noise floor. One of the biggest reasons people stay controllable is not lack of talent. It is excess noise. Too many subscriptions. Too many status-based upgrades. Too many lifestyle commitments dressed as progress. Too many monthly payments quietly owning your calendar. Financial noise is expensive because it keeps your nervous system busy. It makes you easier to manipulate. It makes bad opportunities feel necessary. It makes mediocre deals feel urgent. When your financial life is noisy, you cannot hear your own judgment clearly. Reducing your noise floor means simplifying what constantly demands money, attention, and emotional energy. It means asking a question most people avoid. What in my life looks impressive but weakens my leverage? Every unnecessary payment steals a little sovereignty. Every avoidable expense narrows your future. Financially untouchable people are rarely the loudest spenders. They are usually the cleanest operators. Number 3, build cash reserves that buy dignity, not just safety. People talk about emergency funds like they are boring little boxes to check. But cash reserves do something much deeper than protect against surprise expenses. They protect your standards. They protect your dignity. They protect the version of you that says no to disrespect. Without reserves, people tolerate things they should never tolerate. Bad bosses, bad contracts, bad clients, bad timing, bad environments. Cash is not exciting, but it is stabilizing. It gives you the ability to pause. And in a world where so many people are pushed into rushed decisions, the ability to pause is a form of luxury. The point is not to sit on money forever. The point is to make sure your life is not one late payment away from becoming obedient. Reserves create breathing room. Breathing room creates better decisions. Better decisions create power. Number 4, move from earning to owning as early as possible. This is one of the biggest shifts in the entire wealth game. Labor can pay well, but ownership changes your relationship with reality. Labor asks you to keep showing up. Ownership keeps working after you leave the room. Labor rewards effort. Ownership rewards position. Labor makes you valuable. Ownership makes you difficult to replace. That does not mean you quit your job tomorrow and start pretending to be a tycoon. It means you start taking ownership seriously while everyone else is still obsessed with income theater. Equity, revenue share, intellectual property, cash-flowing assets, small pieces of things that can grow. Ownership moments often look minor at the beginning, but over time they create something salary alone rarely can: detachment from the daily trade of time for survival. Untouchable people are not just paid, they are positioned. Number 5, increase skill leverage, not just skill depth. Most people understand the value of becoming good at something. Fewer understand the value of becoming useful across context. That is where leverage begins. A deep skill is valuable. A skill stack is harder to ignore. If you can communicate, negotiate, understand money, build systems, sell ideas, read people, and produce reliably, your market value changes. You stop depending on one narrow lane for survival. That matters because controllable people are usually easy to box in. They have one way to win, one environment where they function, one identity they cannot afford to lose. Financially untouchable people create multiple routes to relevance. They make themselves transportable. They can move industries, renegotiate roles, create offers, or adapt faster because their competence is layered. Depth matters. But leverage matters more. It is not enough to be good. You want to be difficult to corner. Number 6, build a reputation that compounds in private. A lot of people want visible status before they have durable trust. That is backwards. Public image can get attention, but private reputation creates access. You become financially stronger when the right people start associating your name with calm execution, discretion, intelligence, and consistency. Not noise. Not hype. Not overexposure. The strongest reputations often grow quietly. Someone recommends you in a room you were not in. Someone thinks of you when a deal appears. Someone wants you closer to capital because you do not make expensive emotional decisions. This is one reason financially mature people protect their reputation so carefully. It is not just about image. It is about future opportunity flow. The wrong kind of attention makes you visible. The right kind of trust makes you valuable. Untouchable people do not just market themselves. They become a pattern other people want near important decisions. Number 7, buy back your time before you decorate your lifestyle. This is where many ambitious people get trapped. They raise their income and immediately raise the visual standard of their life. Better apartment, better restaurants, better wardrobe, better vacations, and yet somehow they still feel rushed, fragile, and behind. Why? Because they upgraded the scenery before upgrading their control. Time is one of the earliest forms of wealth that actually changes your daily life. Buying back time can look like better tools, cleaner systems, strategic outsourcing, fewer distractions, less commuting, more automation, or simply fewer obligations you never wanted in the first place. When you buy back time, you do not just feel better. You think better. You notice more. You stop reacting so much. And once your mind is not buried under constant friction, your decision quality rises. A decorated life can impress people. A life with time in it can transform you. Number 8, position yourself near capital allocation. There is a huge difference between working around money and working where money gets directed. Many people spend their lives close to effort but far from allocation. They execute. They deliver. They stay busy. But they rarely see how serious money actually moves. They are near commerce but far from capital decisions. Untouchable people often accelerate when they get closer to environments where money is deployed, multiplied, negotiated, and structured. That could mean industries with deal flow, startups with upside, investors, operators, acquisitions, partnerships, or high-trust growth environments. Because proximity changes perspective. When you are near capital allocation, you stop thinking like a wage earner trapped inside a monthly cycle. You begin to understand risk, ownership, incentives, timing, and scale. It becomes easier to see how power is built because you are finally standing close enough to watch it happen. Number 9, use debt for position, not performance. Debt is one of the clearest separators between financial maturity and financial theater. Immature debt is used to feel successful early. Mature debt is used carefully to strengthen position. One creates pressure. The other can create leverage. That does not mean every acquisition debt is wise. Far from it. But the principle matters. If debt is funding temporary admiration, comfort, or identity repair, it is probably weakening you. If it is helping you acquire something that improves earning capacity, time efficiency, productive capability, or long-term value, the analysis becomes different. The question is not just, can I afford the payment? The better question is, does this purchase increase my future power or just improve my current image? Untouchable people understand that debt is not neutral. It either builds your architecture or decorates your dependency. Number 10, create optionality before you need it. Most people wait too long to build alternatives. They wait until the job gets worse, until the relationship with money gets tighter, until the market turns colder, until they are emotionally exhausted. Then they scramble. But optionality created under pressure is expensive and clumsy. Optionality built in advance is elegant. It gives you routes, relationships, offers, side assets, skills, audience, savings, advisory roles, quiet leverage. The point is not to become scattered. The point is to make sure your life does not collapse around one fragile source of security. This is why financially strong people often seem less impressed by any single opportunity. They are not cold. They are diversified. They know that when you only have one move, you can be controlled through that move. Optionality is how you keep your future from being negotiated by fear. Number 11, learn to read the true cost of comfort. Comfort is seductive because it rarely announces itself as danger. It feels reasonable. It feels deserved. It feels like what successful people should have. But comfort becomes expensive when it raises the minimum conditions required for you to feel stable. A fragile person with money often has one visible problem. They need too much to feel okay. Too much income. Too much validation. Too much aesthetic confirmation. Too much lifestyle support. Untouchable people are more careful here. They enjoy refinement, but they do not build identity on dependency. They understand that every comfort has a carrying cost. And once that cost becomes structural, it starts shaping your courage. Can you still take a smart risk? Can you still walk away? Can you still survive a slower season? The true cost of comfort is not the price tag. It is the reduction of your range. Number 12, build financial calm, not just financial success. This might be the move that ties all the others together. Because the goal is not simply to become richer in a visible way. The goal is to become harder to disturb, harder to rush, harder to frighten, harder to manipulate. Financial calm is one of the rarest luxuries in modern life. It means you are no longer emotionally whipped around by every number, every comparison, every fluctuation, every external signal. It means your systems are doing more of the work. It means your standards are protected. It means your decisions are less reactive and more strategic. Calm is not weakness. Calm is evidence that your position is becoming real. People who are financially untouchable often look less excited, less desperate, less theatrical than everyone else. That is not because they want less. It is because they have built more underneath. Now, here is where a lot of people misunderstand this entire conversation. They think being financially untouchable means becoming cold, obsessed, or detached from beauty. It does not. This is not about rejecting refinement. It is about refusing to let appearance outrun architecture. There is nothing wrong with enjoying beautiful things once your position can hold them. The problem is when people reverse the order. They chase the signals of strength before they have built the systems of strength. They want the polished life before they have built the clean financial spine to support it. And that reversal is costly. It creates lives that look elevated from a distance but feel tense from the inside. You can feel it in the way people spend, the way they speak, the way they negotiate, the way they panic when conditions shift. Untouchable people do not need their lives to look expensive every second. They need their lives to remain stable when the room gets cold. There is also a social layer to this that matters more than people think. Financial power changes how you carry yourself. Not because you become arrogant, but because you stop leaking need. Need leaks through rushed speech, over-explaining, performative confidence, and visible dependence on approval. It shows up when people are too eager to seem established, too quick to signal status, too attached to being read a certain way. But when your money, time, and structure are stronger, your presence changes. You become more selective, more coherent, more difficult to pressure. The right people can feel that even if they never discuss it directly. This is why real status often looks quieter than fake status. Fake status asks to be noticed. Real position changes the atmosphere without asking permission. Financially untouchable people often say less because their life does not need as much defense. Another mistake people make is assuming these moves require extreme wealth to begin. They do not. In fact, many of them matter most before you become visibly successful. A person earning a modest income who tracks freedom, cuts noise, builds reserves, stacks leverage, and thinks in ownership is often building more real power than someone with a flashy life and a weak structure. Early financial decisions are powerful because they set your default. They determine whether rising income expands your control or merely expands your costume. That is why sequencing matters so much. The first increase in income should not just make your life prettier. It should make your position stronger. The first win should not just upgrade your image. It should reduce your fragility. The first taste of success should not turn into a new form of dependence. It should buy you room. This is also why the language you use with yourself matters. If you define success as being admired, then you will keep making expensive decisions that help you feel legible to strangers. But if you define success as becoming less controllable, your priorities reorganize themselves almost immediately. You stop asking, how do I look more established? And begin asking, what increases my range? You stop asking, can I afford this payment? And begin asking, what future does this payment remove? You stop asking, what will people think? And begin asking, what does this do to my leverage? Those are very different questions, and different questions create different lives. Untouchable people are not simply more disciplined. They are measuring a different game. So, if you want to start now, start quietly. You do not need a dramatic reinvention. You need better alignment. Track your actual freedom. Cut one unnecessary financial demand. Build reserves deliberately. Strengthen one leverage skill. Move one step closer to ownership. Protect your reputation. Buy back an hour of thought. Reduce one comfort that weakens your range. Build one backup path. The point is not to perform transformation. The point is to create it. Most financial weakness survives because it stays dressed as normal life. Most financial power begins in decisions that do not look exciting at first. But then, 6 months later, 12 months later, 3 years later, the difference becomes obvious. One life kept getting louder. The other kept getting stronger. And that is the real promise behind these 12 wealth moves. Not that you become immune to all uncertainty. Not that life stops changing. Not that money solves everything. The promise is better than that. You become less available to chaos. Less vulnerable to pressure. Less likely to trade your standards for short-term relief. You build a life that can absorb volatility without losing its shape. You develop the rare ability to move with intention while other people are being moved by fear. That is what financial untouchability really is. Not invincibility. Position. Not arrogance. Stability. Not noise. Quiet control. So the next time you think about money, think beyond income. Think beyond appearances. Think beyond short-term comfort. Ask yourself what would make you harder to shake, harder to rush, harder to manipulate, harder to own. Then build that. Patiently. Quietly. Intelligently. Because the people who become financially untouchable are rarely the ones trying hardest to look powerful. They are the ones building the kind of structure that makes power unnecessary to announce. And once you understand that, wealth stops being a costume. It becomes a position. And position, when built correctly, changes everything. Don't just earn more. Build a life that is harder to control. If this video changed the way you think about money, leave a comment with the word untouchable, and subscribe for more videos on real wealth, true status, and silent power. And if you're ready to go deeper, watch the next video, because building power starts with seeing the game clearly.